listening to Psych Up Live. Join in our conversation today by calling Dr. Suzanne Phillips or her guest at 1-866-472-5788. That's 1-866-472-5788. You may also send an email to radiohostphillips@gmail.com. Now back to Psych Up Live.
Welcome back to Psych Up Live. We're talking about digital connectivity. We're with Dr. Joel Evans. He's an expert on social media and digital connectivity. And we were just talking about the workplace. One of the things that Professor Evans mentioned is that more and more, at least 44% of people have their smartphones right there in the workplace. Now, if we think about, I've came across some information saying that in the workplace, people are interrupted about every 11 minutes. And that means that there's a whole amount of time they have to get back, sometimes like 20 minutes they're reporting, to get back onto the context and the topic they might have been working on. So if we add now cell phone interruptions, bings, pangs, text messaging, Professor Evans, we really have quite a problem.
Well, I want to address this in two steps. The first one is, I think employers were a lot happier 7 or 8 years ago before smartphones became so popular because they had some level of control of the employee using the computer, their computer at work. They could track the sites that they were on, the time. Some companies banned sites, so they had some idea of what people were doing on a personal level at work. Now, the employers really can't track it at all because the person is on their own personal cell phone tied into Wi-Fi or a 4G connection, and the company has no ability to know what the employee is doing. And the statistic I mentioned before, I'm going to bet that virtually 99% of the companies have no idea that many of their employees are online. So we get now to, they're using their smartphone while they're working. This is not during their coffee break or lunch, while they're working. And we're back to this, this common myth of multitasking, which is that a person is perfectly capable of spending 100% of their attention on their work and 100% attention on social media. First of all, every study I've seen shows that multitasking does not, in fact, work. If we're on two devices, maybe we're spending 50% of the time to each. The other risk with the person being, on social media while they're working is suppose they get a text that says, "I'm breaking up with you today," or some other thing that happened that they got unhappy about. What does that do to the rest of their work hour or work day? So social media is a tremendous distraction. You can't work full time and be on social media, and it could also be something that turns out to be upsetting, which changes the person's whole mood from being in a job mode that they were just checking their messages to being agitated.
So we've really taken away the frame if we have a cell phone on all the time. And we do know cognitively that people are not multitasking. They are juggling between tasks. And what that does is add a tremendous amount of distractibility, and it can't improve work productivity. As you say, if you have the possibility of the outside world stepping in and calling in. There used to be a code of conduct that said you don't call or disturb people when they're at work, but somehow people believe that doesn't count for texting. And I've had people say, my family thinks they can text me during the day, and they're extremely upset if I don't respond. So someone might get 30 texts, which means you have to answer. They might be in the courtroom, they might be teaching. It becomes a very difficult situation. It's a great point you're making. And I know as a professor, you and I have spoke about the challenge of teaching to a big arena of 70 students when it's hard to know who's on.
Or 20.
Or 20. It's hard to know who's on, who's paying attention, who's shopping. It's very difficult in the teaching situation also.
Well, I make a big show every class of holding my phone up and turning it off, so they see that I physically turned it off. And I say to them, I'd really appreciate if you would do the same, but I know that's not happening. So yes, I could tell a lot because I show videos. So when I'm showing a video and I turn the lights out and I see all the glowing screens, I know that they're on. Something that's hard also is that for some of my grad classes, I let them have, there are computers in the room, and I let them use them because I want them to follow along with certain things. But I know that they're probably doing that 20% of the time that they're connected, not 100% of the time, because they're doing other things. Because if I wander around, I could see that they're on Amazon, or they're watching a soccer game, or doing something. And, the environment that we're in, where it really is viewed by society at large that being connected is okay, it's pretty hard to, be even more stern than I am. I can't. I'm at a private institution where we charge a lot of money for tuition. I can't say to people as they walk in the door, leave your cell phone in this basket and pick it up as you walk out. Can't do it. So that means that they are, have an entitlement. And the attention span today is very, very short.
Yes, that's one of the things the research has shown, distractibility and difficulty focusing. But one of the reasons we've been doing this show is to invite people to see that as magically important as it is for us to have these opportunities with connectivity, we've got to be able to weigh those times when we're really creating a liability for ourselves in terms of learning or connection. So let's go to the question of, we see the difference in the school, in the classrooms, in the workplace. Just how much can we speak about this evolution over time, and how extensive is the device use?
Okay, well, it really is kind of interesting because, we used to have a regular phone. Now we have mobile phones, we have tablets, we have wearable devices so we could find out what our heart rate is. How does it become connected? Because I can come back with my phone or my PC and I could track my behavior all the time. I could share my behavior with other people. We have appliances. Samsung has introduced an appliance, a smart appliance, where you can be in the supermarket and you could actually be checking out your refrigerator at home to see whether or not you need bananas, for example. So we've got that. We've got thermostats. We've got, and people don't even realize that these things are connected in the way they are. So, for example, the Amazon Echo, there's a $50 version of that, which is, they call it Alexa. That is something where you could say, play Billy Joel music. You could get involved with a shopping experience. I have to plead guilty to the fact that I play Jeopardy every morning. It gives me 6 questions that I could answer. That is a connected device. We've got, if you're with a Windows 10 computer, just a regular computer, but the computer is online, and you have a question about something, you ask Cortana, and some of the answers relate to you going to websites. We know we have Siri, we have smart TVs, we have connections that make smart TVs, like the Apple TV device. We have broadband, which is so much faster. We have all of this wireless stuff between Wi-Fi, GPS, global access. And I really worry about these self-driving cars and cars like Tesla, because if you look at the dashboard that they have, there are so many things that you can do that I don't know how you wouldn't be distracted driving. So there are many more opportunities for us to do things. And, and they've had this one for years with the life alert that you wear as a necklace around your neck, and you push a button if something happens. That's multitasking. If you've had a home security system for 30 years where if the alarm goes off, it goes to a central station and then to the police, that's connectivity. So the biggest difference today is just we all have so many devices. According to, again, some research, that we already worldwide have over 5 billion connected devices. Those are just people, not even companies. And that's expected to go up to 13 billion as of 2020. And the typical person who has a smartphone would have altogether about 3.6 connected devices. So think about what you have. I'm wearing my wearable. I have a smart TV. I have my smartphone. I have internet connections everywhere. I have my tablet. So I'm easily at least the 3.6. So there are a lot of people that have devices like the wearable device or the smartphone. If you would ask them, they don't even think they're connected. They just think that's a part of their everyday life. And what we've seen, just as an example, is that in 2005, only 5% of people were on social media. We're up at 70% now in the U.S. And in 2011, only 6 years ago, only a third of the people owned a smartphone, and we're now up to 77%. So we have so many things to keep us connected and maybe overconnected.
So one of the most interesting pieces of information that we spoke about and that you sent me that I want our listeners to hear is how much time do people spend on social media, and how would that translate into time over a lifetime?
Well, as I said, we spend several hours a day on social media, and some of the things we're on are YouTube. The average person who subscribes to YouTube is on 40 minutes a day, Facebook 35, Snapchat 25, Instagram 15, and Twitter. Part of Twitter is slowing down in terms of growth, but people really do quick hits on Twitter. It's only a minute a day. But over a lifetime, this is also kind of amazing, okay? So if I were to give you in the order of which another study ranked our time uses. So over our life, we spend 7 years and 8 months watching TV. That's going to go way down because the next category is going to go way up. So that's 7 years, 8 months. We spend 5 years, 4 months on social media over our lifetime. 5 years of time just on social media. That's not other connected things. We spend 3.5 years eating and drinking. In the United States, we gulp down a lot of food, right? So we spend less time eating than on social media. Grooming, so that's taking a shower, shaving, doing your hair, whatever it is. We spend 1 year and 10 months. Socializing, this is where we get really scary. So over our lifetime, socializing, which is interpersonal contact with people, not through connected device, 1 year and 3 months. So it's about 1/4 the amount of time we spend on social media.
That's right.
And just for giggles, we spent about 6 months doing laundry.
Thank God. So it's fascinating. So you're actually telling us most people, the thing they do over their lifetime is watch TV. That's 7 years, 8 months, as compared to, it's still a tremendous amount. Over our lifetime, we're spending 5 years, 4 months on social media, but actually meeting and being with people, only 1 year, 3 months. The difference is really extraordinary.
And what's going to shift with TV is how we watch TV. It's going to be streaming devices, Amazon, Netflix, Hulu. That's how we're going to be watching TV. So that's still connected. It's not the way we've watched TV before. And the amount of times we watch on our mobile device has gone way up.
So, and in terms of your findings, we only have about another minute in this segment. What's the difference gender-wise, let's say, in use of Facebook, since that's the primary one?
Facebook is, let me see, Facebook, it's actually more males than females. which is kind of interesting because that would dispel another urban myth, which is that women are ones on there all the time. But according to still other research, men for virtually for every age category up to 44. So we're talking about from 13 years old to 44 years old, there's a significant difference between males and females, with males being on Facebook. And then when you get to 45 and older, it evens out. So the idea that, it's just gossip or, quotation marks, girl stuff or whatever, boy, that couldn't be further from the truth.
That's fascinating. We're going to have to take a break. We're going to come back with more information. You've been listening to Psych Up Live. We're speaking with Professor Evans, who's giving us some really amazing data on social media and digital connectivity. More to come. Stay with us.